Good evening and welcome to episode 123 of Super Deformed Gamescast. Holy shit, that was loud, wasn't it? Better expand my whole screen here. Yep, that was a little bit loud. Anyway, what's going on, guys? We are happy to be back with you once again on this lovely Thursday night. And as you can see, we got a full house tonight. Some introductions need to be made. So we'll go ahead and we will introduce for the first time officially ever as this is his inaugural mission. This is his first time, level 1, if you will, for Derek appearing as a main cast member on SDGC. So Derek,
it's a big day for us.
It's
exciting.
Day.
First time. I'm on. I'm in. It's legitimate now.
You're actually. Oh, hey, Chad is already filling up. Dolly's in chat. Dolly, what's going on, my man? We love you, buddy. And we got Zach here with us tonight. Zach, what's going on, my friend?
Hey, that's it.
That's all you got. He's not a talker.
That's all you need.
We got Finn in the flower shirt. He's actually not driving and podcasting for once, which really makes me feel good.
I'm just happy I can be back. I haven't been on a show
in months,
forever.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. It's been a really long time. Saki actually in chat says, "Why no love for Saki in chat?" I'm working on it. You got it. This is patience. It's all about patience. Brandon down in the corner, right next to me. Brandon, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, dude?
And we have two guests tonight. We'll introduce Matt first. You guys, he's practically a member of the podcast. He's a member of the family at this point anyway. Matt Piscatel with NPD here to talk about
He's been on so many times now.
I know.
A lot of times.
You've been on quite a bit. And Matt is here, as always, to tell us how the industry is slowly dying and shriveling into a corn cob month after month. So CNN, one day, Matt, one day CNN's going to be validated because this is all going to end one day. Right?
Thank God.
Please no, I like my job.
I'm just kidding.
Hellscape.
I'm just kidding. And actually, so let's introduce our other guest, Rebecca Valentine. What's going on?
I baked a cake today. It's a great day.
Right?
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, you baked a cake. By the way, swear as much as you want on this podcast. We're all a bunch of potty mouth idiots. So
Tell us about the cake. Get into as much detail as you can.
Yeah, I want to hear about
this
cake.
podcast is about.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. No, I'm down with that. Okay. So it's a chocolate cake. Like it's maybe like super basic. So okay. So I just learned to cook legitimately in the last couple of years or so, and someone got me the joy of cooking, and so now I'm really serious about making cakes. And I do the whole thing where my butter's room temperature, and I fold the white eggs and really gently and stuff. So it's like a chocolate cake, and it's gonna cool overnight. And tomorrow I'm gonna put freaking mocha frosting and mocha buttercream on it.
God,
yes, that sounds incredible.
Right.
So good.
Shit.
Quick question for you then. With all this time spent on cake, do you ever feel like you should have spent more time on pizza?
Oh, that's a deep fucking
All right,
cut,
that's
Finn.
it. No.
Finn, that's a deep fucking cut, dude.
She's gone.
We're gone. She's gone. She's out. We lost our guest.
Out.
That's
She's
a
out.
deep. That Finn. That's it.
We're doing that already.
That was real.
Yeah.
I'm not. You gotta admit though, that was pretty good. That was a solid fucking
In
burn.
a couple weeks after PAX West, I made homemade pizza dough, and I made a whole fucking pizza with pepperoni and good shit. And I baked it, and I ate it, and it was good. And it only took me overnight rising of the dough and several hours the next day. So if I was given enough time to play Overcooked 2, I could make a pizza.
Are they judging you for it, or are they just jealous? Because I'd love to eat an entire pepperoni pizza myself.
I actually tried to make a pizza when I got home, but I still couldn't tell the difference between the dough and the cheese. So nothing had changed from PAX West. So.
I'm not salty, but I couldn't see the cheese and the. You're completely right. They were both just yellow blobs from where we were sitting.
I fucking maintain, and Jeff Grubb he shows up in this chat sometimes. So I hope he's listening. Jeff Grubb won on a fucking technicality. I'm just throwing it out there. That was anybody's pizza to make. That was anybody's pizza to make.
Technicality that he actually made a pizza?
You know what? Fuck you, Finn. Okay.
You can close your eyes and just randomly hit buttons, and you might be more likely to make a pizza.
Yeah, exactly.
So a monkey could have done it better, is what you're saying.
Yes, that's precisely
Better than you're saying is you lost.
Better than me, yes. Better than me, yes. Anyway, Rebecca, why don't you tell anybody who's listening? Oh, the chat's full. Why don't we tell people who you are and kind of what you do?
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca Valentine. I started writing for GamesIndustry.biz about 4 months ago, pushing 5 months. Oh my god, time.
It flies. It goes.
I still feel like I'm just like this brand new little baby chick that just hatched and don't even know what's going on. But I write for GamesIndustry.biz. It's my first full-time thing writing about video games. So I'm wide-eyed, but it's awesome. And it's a site that covers the global games industry, so it's more of a trade publication. We don't do reviews. We don't do like previews and things like that. It's not a consumer site, but we do cover the industry. We cover, who's investing in it and why, what kinds of decisions are people making in the industry that might impact the direction that it goes, all kinds of things like that. So I news there. I went to PAX West recently, as we just discussed, and my whole thing there was like interviewing developers, publishers, people or figures in the industry, and kind of figuring out what they're doing, where they're doing it. And I have been slowly trickling out those interviews over the last several weeks. Got several more to go because it's a lot of transcribing. And then I'm going to a smaller event this weekend. Actually, I'm going to Esports Bar in Miami, and I'm going to talk to a bunch of people who are interested in esports and see what they have to say about that. So
hell yeah.
No,
any game in particular, or just like esports in general?
Esports in general. The event it's very much like a businessy, investory event. Cool. I feel like I'm gonna be a little bit out of my league there because I'm like small and cute. But it's basically people who are already into esports, publishers, people who run leagues, various things like that, meeting up with people who are outside the esports industry who are interested in investing in it. So like brands who might want to like advertise, things like that. And it's mainly a business event for people to do meetings, but I'm going to be there on Monday, and they're going to have like a whole bunch of roundtables and keynote addresses. I'm going to listen to the person who's in charge of NBA 2K League. I'm going to listen to the Dancer, who's in charge of like Overwatch League, and they're just going to be talking about various topics, but like esports, investing in it, where it's going, why it's going there, things like that.
That's awesome. That's fucking outstanding.
Sounds great.
Yeah, no, and you're doing a great job over there too. I love the content you guys are putting out. What's interesting, and I'll tell you guys, is that actually when I met Rebecca at PAX West, she actually like flattered the shit out of me because I was just kind of standing there getting ready for
best way to get on our show.
That's the flatter me, and I'll put you on. Like I don't really give a shit who you are or what you say. Like if
that
you
was
flatter
my goal
me
the
enough,
whole time.
You'll get on SDGC. I was just standing there, and like she comes, she was the second person who did this to me. She comes up and she says, "Hey, you're Mr. Megadov on Twitter," and I was like, "How the fuck do you know that? Like how do you know that?" And apparently, Rebecca had been following us and the podcast for some time, and I just didn't know it. I wish you'd introduced yourself sooner. But Rebecca turned out awesome, and I learned a little bit about what she was doing, and I was like, you've got to come on our show. And now here she is. So Rebecca, we are thrilled to have you on.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll go ahead and kick it off with Matt. Matt will fire off our NPD discussion. So Matt, why don't you tell us about how dire straits are in the industry right now?
Oh God, it continues to be a really great year. Which always is double edged because right now everything is great, which also kind of sets you up for declining in the future. But maybe that's just because I'm getting old and everything seems terrible. But for now, the industry itself is actually pretty damn good. Another big month of growth across software, hardware, and accessories, with a couple of games really popping out. Madden, for one. Madden was the big game for the month. It was so every year since 2000, Madden has been the best-selling game of August, except for 2011 and 2012 when it happened to come out in September. So
What's the best-selling game of September?
By technicality, yeah.
Yeah. So, by technicality, it would come out like August 29th or August 30th, and of course that would be in the September tracking period. So, nothing new there. But we did have one interesting thing pop up that I'm sure you guys might have seen, which was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 popping back up into the top 10.
Oh, shit.
Was it 3 or 2?
I must have missed that. I must have missed
2.
that.
Really?
Oh, it's 2. You said 2, I think.
Finn's telling me 2, so I'm going to believe Finn, and he's probably right.
I think I remember 2, yeah.
Yeah, so the backwards compatibility hit, and 3 days of tracking later, Call of Duty was back in the top 10. So stuff like that's really fun when it happens, and it really shows the power of these initiatives that companies are doing that sometimes, they might seem a little under the surface, but then you have something like this happens, and all of a sudden you have a top 10 game out of nowhere. It was number 321 on the July rankings, so it went from 321 to 8 just because of 3 days of backwards comp.
And it's all based on raw dollar sales too, right? So a 7-year-old game, or how is it 10 years now?
It's pretty old.
It's pretty old.
Yeah, so it sells presumably for cheap, which means it sold a shitload of copies at that cheap-ish level.
Yeah, and it's all dollar based.
Which is weird because I thought you could play all those games for free on Xbox. I'm sorry.
Yeah, the way they phrased that was weird.
I'm sorry. I couldn't. I've been holding that one in all day.
The marketing boy in me cried a little bit when I saw that tweet because they set themselves up for
a lot of shit.
Also real jabs on that.
Yeah, they did. Anyway, Matt, please continue. Don't let these cretins, these barbarians, interrupt you from delivering the NPD talk that we need.
So, I mean, those are the two big things. I mean, Switch was the number one selling hardware of the month in units. On the dollar sales, the dollar sales side was much more interesting. There was a 3% gap between the first place and third place console and dollar sales.
Interesting.
So you're talking like all three boxes are selling very similar dollar values. And of course, they're doing it with very different products, right? And very different pricing programs. So we're, again, like we talked about it in past months, about how the diversity in terms of what these consoles are offering is allowing for entirely different segments of the market to be attracted to the different boxes on the market. And they're appealing to slightly different interests. And we're seeing that reflected in the really strong sales across the board, which is like, it's very unusual. People on Twitter and on the message boards were giving me crap because they were saying that I'm always saying that everybody's winning. Well, when all three consoles every month are within this very narrow gap, and you're seeing top-selling games from all three platforms, and each platform doing something a little bit different, and they're all doing very well, then yeah, everybody's kind of winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is.
But you don't understand. There's that 3% difference, so somebody's got to be losing.
Somebody's mad. Somebody's pissed off. That's what I love about the console wars is that it's not enough it's not enough that everything is selling amazing. It's something has to be selling better than something else. And I just
listen. If I don't feel like Phil Spencer's losing sleep at night, I don't want to hear it. Okay. Okay.
I've really enjoyed watching the Switch hold steady throughout the summer months, especially.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a giant Nintendo fangirl. But I think, not
hell
just
yeah,
the fact
you belong on this podcast, Rebecca. You belong here.
I mean, like correct me because I'm just like going off what my brain remembers from the last couple months, and that might be right. But I mean, like if I remember right, Nintendo Switch sales have been like just steadily on top or close to it, like the last several months. That's right. And then
ever since Octopath.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Are you referring to the best JRPG this generation?
Oh my God.
I'm referring to in RPG from this year.
Best RPG this generation, and possibly the last generation. But anyway, please continue.
But I think it's interesting to also see that reflected on the software charts too. Like Breath of the Wild and Mario Kart and I think Odyssey as well have been either all three in the top 10 or near the top 10 for the last pretty much since they came out. Maybe I'm not remembering that correctly, but I keep seeing them month after month after month, and it's just heartening, I guess, to see that continue even when we're not like in some holiday explosion where people are picking up this magnificent new bundle that is going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, we're at the point where I honestly feel like every first-party Nintendo release for Switch is guaranteed like to hit a good cool million at a minimum. It's starting to feel like Mario Party's hit in October, and Mario Party's not exactly a big deal, but
can't wait.
Mario Party's going to end up somewhere on that chart because it's Nintendo and it's on the Switch.
Well, I mean, I think, and Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but in general, the attach rate for first-party games for the Switch this generation has just been absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, and like not only those games that Jessica mentioned, but also Kart, which is probably the best-selling of all of them. On the Switch this year, and you think about that staying power by the titles that came out last year, and this year basically the Switch carried in good extent by that third-party indie support that's been stellar all through the first part of the year, and now we get into the tail end with Pokemon and Smash. I mean, man, we're not even tracking in our charts the digital sales for Nintendo, which are significant. So you just kind of do a basic extrapolation of what, these sales could be with physical and digital. And that top 20 chart is real heavy Nintendo at the top as it is. Imagine if we added who knows what percentage to those totals, how top heavy that chart would be with Nintendo.
Go ahead, please. No, please.
So all I was just going to ask Matt, and it might be a simple, we don't have a way of tracking it, is is there a way for NPD to see in the following months how Nintendo Online is picking up, or because it's digital, is that going to be hard to track?
Yeah.
No, it's not hard to track. We actually have something called Player Pulse. It's from our EDAR sister company.
Okay.
It's a 5,000 sample survey every month, and we track all of that subscription spending, no matter what service it is. So, and we report on that to industry. We don't generally put those out to the public, but we do track those, and they're part of our releases we do every 6 months with total market spending and the total market picture.
Gotcha. Yeah, the only reason I ask is because I'm curious when you see games like Splatoon move to a paid online platform. Yeah. Okay, that's
the one thing
fascinating
I
to me.
want to just point out is like all these people that seem to still doubt the Switch and its continued success. We live in a world where the top-selling game of June was Mario Tennis.
Yeah.
July was Octopath, and at no time in any other history, even when the Wii was dominating, they didn't have those kind of more, niche titles compared to their big hitters top the charts like that. But
yeah,
I am so, and like I'm not just saying this because I'm a huge Octopath Traveler fanboy, but I'm so glad that style of game sold as well as it did, because it means we're going to get something similar.
Yeah,
here's the thing, John. I give you shit for it because I didn't like it as much as you. So I just really like the.
God, I fucking love that game.
Support, but
if it means we end up with a Bravely Default 3, I am here for it.
I guarantee you, we're getting Bravely Default.
Like, that's probably going to happen regardless.
If I can,
in a world where
FF6 Advanced,
just remake Final Fantasy VI with Octopath Traveler graphics, please.
Yes.
Please.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
Say, in a world where like Final Fantasy is moving further and further away from traditional RPG elements, and Final Fantasy was the premier Final Fantasy franchise or JRPG franchise. Of course,
Final
it was
Fantasy the premier Final Fantasy franchise.
Yeah, it was the premier
news.
JRPG franchise for the longest time, and to see that moving away, and yet a game like Octopath Traveler do so well. It's a good sign that it's not that people don't want those kind of traditional gameplay elements. It's which makes it all the more confusing to see that franchise evolution. But regardless.
So two quick questions. One's for everybody, and the second one is for Matt specifically. The first thing is, do we know roughly what Nintendo has sold in terms of console units this year?
Ooh.
In terms of, do we know?
So I know that their goal was 20 million.
That's what I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask Matt if he still thinks they're gonna hit that, and I was gonna see where they were currently.
I don't know where they're at, but I know. So I remember, and then I'll kick it over to Matt. I remember them saying that.
John?
See, I told you we were gonna have problems.
John's not here. It's just a picture of a man with a sword.
That's
dick butt.
That's John's.
I'm here.
Okay, John, is the stream down?
Nope, we're up.
We're doing this on somebody else's computer next time.
We're fucking going.
Is the stream up?
No, it's up.
Okay,
we're going.
Hang on. We have to find out if the stream's up, then we'll keep going.
No, I'm
watching
the
the
stream. Is
stream.
going. The stream is going. There's
we're
no
good.
fucking stopping this train.
Okay.
Let's go.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Okay.
Is Matt still here?
Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah.
Matt is here.
Yeah, I can see Jessica now
It's
too.
invisible to me.
Okay. Rebecca. Okay, you guys can see each other. Okay. So Matt, talk to me. Where are we in your prediction for 20 million? Are they still good to hit it?
Yeah, so my current outlook right now for the U.S. is ballpark 6.2, 6.4 million units, which extrapolated total market gets you to that 20 million range. I'm more of the 19.5 train right now, but
Okay.
I have a feeling they'll squeeze out the other 500K worldwide to get to the 20. So
I don't know, man.
I'm pretty confident in that.
Mr. Piscatella, I believe that's higher than what you said last month. Is that true?
I haven't changed my forecast.
Oh,
So.
man, Matt, she's got your number, man. She's paying.
Call the fuck out.
Okay. So like honestly, I was like nervous about coming on here, so I went and re-listened to last month's when Matt was on here, and so I have
Okay, well now I'm looking.
I
My
believe you.
number
If you say you didn't change your official forecast, I believe you.
5.9 is my number for the year for the U.S.,
somebody
which would
check the
extrapolate
tapes.
out
Somebody-
a little bit
Somebody check the
less,
tapes.
but
Check
we'll
the
see.
Now,
tapes.
here's the question for you, Matt, because I've had people start this debate, and it's just the big two, I mean, yeah, Switch has a Fortnite bundle coming out, but the big two are the Pokemon and the Smash bundles. Of those two, in your expert opinion, or maybe Fortnite a little bit, which one do you foresee selling the most this holiday season?
Which one do they make the most of?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a good point. I mean, Fortnite and Pokemon especially are two incredibly high demand games.
Listen, Matt's the expert. I would be shocked if Smash beat Pokemon, as long as demand keeps up.
Smash isn't
But
going to
I
beat
had
fucking
somebody-
Pokemon, dude.
I had someone threaten to fight me on the internet playground. I don't think you quite understand in your little hardcore gamer bubble that Pokemon is vastly more inclusive to more gamers.
I threaten to fight you on the internet playground every day.
It's true. Well, to be fair, you threatened to not let me be on the show.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the truth.
I feel
Pokemon's
like
gonna
if you
be.
combine Pikachu and Eevee, it might beat Smash.
So
Yeah, I mean,
so,
the mass market scale of Pokemon can't be denied. I mean, you're talking one of the biggest franchises in entertainment, not just gaming.
yeah.
So, I mean, I would default to Pokemon driving the majority of that. But again,
Well, and I
it's
think
going to depend on how much they make and where
I
they
think
put
what I
it.
love is
Because
like,
they'll sell
for
every
sure.
one of them.
Oh well, so here's the thing too, right? Like you see a lot of people like on Twitter and on forums like Era who say well you know what I'm bowing out of Pokemon. It's not going to sell well. There's no random battles. Guys, get over yourselves. Like it's fucking Pokemon.
People who hang out on Era, people who hang out on Games Twitter, people who listen to this podcast are hardcore audiences that will buy Smash Bros. But the average consumer is more likely to buy Pokemon.
Exactly.
That's how it's
Actually,
always
I think
been.
Pokemon Go, like I'm really interested to see if there's a significant difference.
Oh,
in
100%.
the
That's
kinds
a good
of-
point.
Like the way the sales go because
Right.
of Pokemon Go and because the
Data
mechanics
of-
are being brought over.
Years
No, you're so
where-
right.
Who has the data where the years of Smash came out versus because there's always a new Pokemon game? Like, has Smash ever outsold a Pokemon game when they both?
I seriously doubt it. I mean,
I
Smash
would
is
bet not.
well. I
I'd have to go
mean,
look.
well, I don't think Smash is traditionally like a huge it sells in the millions, but it's not like a Mario, like a 3D Mario game or like
It's not a Mario Kart.
it's never been. I'm not going to say niche, but it's never
As-
been.
As
in
the
demand like
Gears of
Mario
War
Kart,
defender here, I would say it's the Gears of War of the micro. You know what I mean?
That's a really good comparison, actually. I think.
it's probably a terrible comparison, honestly.
No. I think it's
But-
because I mean, Gears of War sells great, but it doesn't sell like Halo levels.
Or Forza.
You know what it
Forza.
is? You know. To borrow his analogy, it's the Forza.
Forza sells the best, though.
Does it?
Yeah.
Forza sells really well.
Years in Halo.
I thought Forza sells.
Forza Horizon 4 or Forza Horizon 3 just sold 10 or had 10 million copies sold. I think. Could be wrong. I don't know.
I'm gonna call shenanigans on that one.
I mean, what's interesting about Pokemon is like everything that the hardcore crowd is complaining about Pokemon is exactly the intent of the new Pokemon. It's designed to attract to mass market kids and families because the core gaming audience already has bought into the Switch. And the problem with Switch now isn't attracting the core gaming market, it's expanding outside of it. And Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu are designed to do exactly that. That's the point of them. So all the complaining, no kidding. It's not targeted at you. It's not supposed to be.
Right.
Well, and
So
regardless,
I've got go ahead.
I was gonna say every major franchise that hits Switch, even when we talk about this, core versus kind of mass market, like every franchise that hits Switch, there are people that are holding out for that to be the thing that hits the Switch. The Smash crowd, I'm a regional level Smash tournament organizer, so I can't speak to like national level exactly, but the trends I've seen, there's a ton of Smash players who still have not picked up a Switch. They're all waiting last minute for Smash Ultimate to come out, and you're going to see a decent chunk of consoles sold because of Smash, even though you would think that all these people would already have bought it for Mario or for Zelda or for Octopath or something like that.
I mean, I can believe that pretty easily.
Every major new Nintendo IP that hits the Switch, even Pokemon, regardless if the core doesn't want to, it's not going to be for me, but that's fine because guess what? It's a Pokemon on the Switch. It's going to blow up the charts because there's some chunk of Nintendo and games fandom that was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Real quick, I just want to shout out. There's a ton of people in the chat that I don't recognize. So guys, welcome. Stick around. We appreciate you being here.
Welcome to hell.
Welcome to a fucking dumpster fire.
You made a mistake.
Go back. I've actually got a question for Matt, real quick. I am not willing to go out and buy a Pokemon bundle because I've got a Switch. My 10-year-old has a Switch. I'm not buying another Switch. but I really want those Joy-Cons. Like, I fucking cannot describe to you in enough detail how badly I want those fucking Joy-Cons. So do you think that they're going to sell those separately? Because I really want those. Like, I can't, I want the fucking Joy-Cons, Matt. Like, am I going to be able to get them without the Switch?
Well, I mean, so gamepad spending of just so anyways, there's a collector's market showing up now for gamepads, and gamepad spending is up in the, I forget what it is, 30% range year on year, and we're seeing like these incredible record level sales of gamepads because of it. If they were smart, they would come out with every color in the rainbow and every graphic, and people would buy them all. So I hope so. I think it'd be smart, but you know. Trying to guess what Nintendo will do? Nah, man, I'm good.
John,
I'm giving that up.
I would like to say they would because they just announced that the Smash Brothers Switch Joy-Cons will be sold separately.
That's true.
I'm buying those too. I'm picking. God, they're sitting on a fucking gold. Here's what I don't get about the Joy-Cons, right? Here's what I don't get. They are sitting, design some Super Nintendo or GameCube style color scheme Joy-Cons and watch those things march out of the fucking stores. By the battalion. Like,
I want transparent atomic purple like the N64.
Oh my god, dude,
controller.
fucking seriously. Like, you could they could do so many things with the Joy-Cons and they're not, and it just kills me a little bit inside.
Hey, just a quick thing. Since we're talking about unnecessary hardware, should we talk about the PS Mini?
So
Yeah.
real quick, so we're gonna do the PS. I've got one more question for Matt.
Okay.
This is a so even though it's not been included in this month's or this past NPD, obviously, Matt, do you have any sales projections or predictions for Spider-Man on PS4?
If you look at the today's GameDaily.biz, the finest website covering the internet on the internet.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I'm
boy.
talking about.
There's an article by the one and only James Brightman that goes into that, and I give him some thoughts there too. Very optimistic. I have it predicted as the 10th best-selling game of the year. The initial results that were reported were a little bit more optimistic or were even better than my optimistic scenario, so really good. It's really rare that a game that's sub 90 meta gets to this kind of sales level, so you have a great IP. Insomniac knocked it out of the park, even though the reviewers didn't like it as much as, say, God of War. And you have a franchise that basically has been dormant in the video game space for a while. So Spider-Man the movie and Spider-Man the movie 2 were top 5 games in the years they launched. And then Spider-Man as an IP kind of went away for 15 years. Well, it's back, and it's back at being a premier franchise. So it really looks good for a very optimistic outlook, not only for future versions of Spider-Man, but also the DLC and MTX, and perhaps even more Marvel Universe games coming to games. And my history at Warner Brothers and with the DC line was, Arkham kind of set a new bar. And you look at Spider-Man, and you're like, okay, this is an elevation of the stuff that even the Arkham guys did. So it's really fun to see. It looks like it's going to be a really good seller for not just the rest of this year, but probably for a while.
Plus, it's just it's so good to see Spider-Man get his Arkham moment finally. Like, oh my god.
And listen, keeping it brief, I still prefer. I love Sunset Overdrive. I think it's a more interesting game than Spider-Man, but it makes me so happy to see Spider-Man selling well in comparison.
Boo! Although Sunset Overdrive is a great fucking game.
It's a great game, but it's sold poorly on Xbox.
Crap. Yeah, it did.
Yep.
So Zach, why don't you go ahead and lead us into the golden fields of PS Mini discussion, please?
Yeah. So my PS Mini takes are probably spicy. Maybe they're pretty normal. I don't know.
Dude, this is fucking SDGC. Everything's spicy.
Okay.
Let's roll.
Okay, but yeah. So PlayStation Mini was announced a couple nights ago. Obviously. Little tiny box following Nintendo, who showed how successful it was as an option. $100 December, 20 games. Can't add any games to them, similar to the Nintendo thing, unless you want to modify it.
Which we don't condone here on SDGC. We don't
condone.
We don't endorse that at all.
Two wired controllers, a USB adapter, and no AC adapter, which means you have to buy your power source separately, which I think is the strangest part of it.
Well, so, I mean, that's what the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic did, though.
They didn't have an AC adapter either?
No.
I thought they did.
No.
No.
No, they did not. They just had like a weird USB.
Wait,
there's just
do any of us have one? Do any of us have one to confirm?
I do.
Okay. No. I mean, if you're right, you're right. I mean, I don't own.
I mean, then it's a dumb thing when Nintendo does it, and it's a dumb thing when Sony does it.
Yeah.
It's all dumb.
Yeah, sell people the ability to turn it on, gang.
So like, here's my thing, right? Like, I get that it's kind of silly to not include.
Well,
that.
see, Kogasu says his did.
But what? Well, I don't know. Whatever. Like, I know there's no AC. Maybe it had the USB cord in the box, but I've got so many fucking USB cords in my house that it doesn't even matter to me.
Well, apparently Nintendo and Sony don't because they can't put them in the box.
So another person in the chat says they both have AC adapters. I mean, it doesn't really matter whether or not they did. I mean, I think Nintendo did, but like, I mean, the strange thing is how you could sell something for $100. So they're coming late. Obviously, it's a different platform, but it's 20 games, which is less games. It's more expensive, and you don't have everything you need out of the box to run it.
So here's my take on the PS Mini, and then I'll let somebody else chime in. You know, I love old PlayStation games, like, you know, and the PlayStation era was one of my favorite console generations. I loved my PlayStation 1. I've got 2 classic PlayStations right now. Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy 7, games like Deception, Final Fantasy 9, I mean, Final Fantasy Tactics, Vagrant Story. I love these fucking games. Having said that, I'm not sure I need a PlayStation Mini, simply because I can almost guarantee you, and this is just for me personally, but I can almost guarantee you that almost every one of those games that's going to be on a PS Mini, I can play on my Vita as a PS1 classic. And I can take my Vita wherever I want. Rest in peace, Vita, by the way. So why? I know, Rebecca, me too. It's real depressing.
I don't care about the Vita. I was emoting in sarcasm.
Okay. Oh, well, god damn it. Fine. But Jesus, I thought I had an ally for a minute. But
you're alone on that one, man.
You are quite alone.
I know. I'm one out of every 500 people owns a Vita, and I'm one of the.
I own a Vita. I just never use it.
But like, I don't know. I don't. $100 is pricey. Like the Super Nintendo Classic is what, $69. The NES Classic is $59. And I don't know if there's enough nostalgia around some of those games as there are around like the Super Nintendo Classic, for example.
So
at least not
I think
me,
there is amongst a decent chunk of the gaming population. I mean, it's very easy to forget, like, especially if you're a little older and you were into gaming with the NES and the SNES before like the PlayStation era. Like, I have a lot of friends who the PlayStation 1 was their first console, and I'm seeing a lot of excitement for this. But here's the other side of the spectrum, is because this may not appeal to me. It has every right to be on the market and exist, and it's a cool thing. What I am seeing from, I've still got a lot of friends who were coworkers at NOA when I was there on my Facebook feed. And what I'm seeing is a lot of kind of like eye rolling, maybe a little on the nose of saltiness for, man, PlayStation Classic's getting a little on the nose with the NES Classic aping, from the moniker to like the picture of the hand holding the console on a white background is a little too close.
From the company that brought you PlayStation Battle Royale or whatever.
All Stars.
I mean,
Battle Royale.
Look, Sony, I like Sony, but Sony has always been a Me Too company in every like angle of their electronics. They've always jumped into tablets or types of headphones or whatever kind of consumer electronics that are popular at the moment. So I don't blame them for that. It's a good tactic. But like I'm saying, I'm seeing a lot of my old coworkers who are a little bit salty at that identical promo picture of the hand and the mini console. So
I think my favorite headline after all of that news dropped was from one of the outlets that I used to write for. It was a Redap Trigger, and like he had in like the strap or something. Sony does what Nintendo does. Like it doesn't play on what Nintendo don't. That thing.
Right. Did we also mention that it is not going to have the analog stick?
Yeah, that is a huge bone of contention for me. Yeah, there's no analog nubs on the controller. So have fun. Have fun trying to control
a lot of the games.
Have fun trying to control Solid Snake and Metal Gear Solid with those little.
No Ape Escape.
Yes, no Ape Escape at all.
What are you doing with a PS Classic with no Ape Escape?
That's just fine with me because Ape Escape is overrated. So that's.
The Dragoon.
So my guess is so. I mean, part of what makes it kind of hard for me early on to do the value judgment on $100 is they've only announced like 5 of the 20 games, and the other 15 they mentioned will vary from region slightly, with the 5 they announced being on all of them. So I mean, it's really hard to make a judgment call because it could be $100 because there's licensing with all of these. Because there are a couple games that Square Enix, for example, currently owns, right?
Like Einhander and Vagrant Story and.
But I mean, isn't there some Final Fantasy in there? I swear I saw Final Fantasy.
Is Einhander on the PSX Classic?
If Einhander's on there, that'd be awesome.
I would fucking love Einhander on there. Like if Einhander's on there, that's literally like everything changes. That's an instant.
That's a
buy.
decision
That's a game
maker
that
right
not
there.
many people played when it was.
Einhander is. Go ahead, Rebecca, please.
I just think it simultaneously takes like a lot of gall to put up pre-orders for something that's essentially like
a mystery.
Yeah, it's like a fucking loot box, man.
You don't know what the
I'm
fuck
not
it
allowed
is.
to say crap because Nintendo does a lot of the same stuff
These things are
sometimes.
going to be random, and we don't know what they are. But also, like, I think it takes a lot of gall. But also, like, who cares? I mean, I assume they sold out of pre-orders. I assume they're just going to keep selling out. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever that is.
For me, this is just like a really strange announcement, made lukewarm by the weird hardware decision with the AC adapter and the no DualShock, and then also without the games being solid. Like, it just feels a little too squishy. It's also interesting to see them launch it in December. Like, I mean, listen, Matt's the only one here who's really an expert on it, but like, I wouldn't launch it right after the most expensive part of the year for game consumers, but I don't know shit.
So here's my issue with the PS Mini, and it's the same issue I had with the NES Classic, which is, I guess, sort of been rectified now, and the same issue I have with the fucking NES Classic is that I don't want these games on a separate console. Like it's 2018. We've got PSN, we've got PS Now, we've got the Nintendo Switch, I can fucking carry anywhere. I want these games on my actual console where I can play them. There are PS1 classics that have been sitting on PSN, literally playable on PS3 and the PS Vita for years, literally for years, and they have not been made available on what is currently Sony's their second best-selling console in terms of sales trajectory. There are NES games or Super Nintendo games. Some of the greatest fucking games ever made that we know there's demand for, and Nintendo has not put them on the console that you can fucking plug into your TV and take anywhere you go. It just, to me, it reeks of anti-consumerism. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know about that. But I've got a Super Nintendo Classic, so I guess maybe I'm part of the problem. But because at the same time, like companies like Nintendo and PlayStation or Sony, they've got me, right. Like if you put Einhander on this thing, I'm gonna buy it because that's the only fucking way to play Einhander right now. Or Valkyrie Profile.
Pretty much.
If you put Valkyrie Profile on this thing, I will buy it because it's the only way to play one of my favorite JRPGs ever. Same thing with the SNES Super Nintendo Classic. It's right now, aside from emulation, which I don't like, I don't do.
I mean, they made a PSP port Valkyrie Profile at least, but
yeah, but I can't find a PSP anymore.
They didn't like it's not on PSN.
Yeah, exactly. It's not on PSN. You can't download it on your Vita, and I can't play Final Fantasy VI or some of these other games or Super Punch Out on anywhere but my Super Nintendo Classic, and it kind of galls me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but every time these mini consoles get announced, I die a little bit inside because I know we're that far. We're moving farther and farther away from having these games delivered to us. Yeah, from God's light. Like I feel like God is abandoning us, and we're never going to get these games in the form that we actually want them.
Matt,
It's
am I
frustrating
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
to
Anybody. It's
I
fine.
was just gonna say, I do think it's interesting, like the difference between Nintendo's approach and Sony's approach. Like, I mean, we don't really know what games they're gonna put on there, but Nintendo has like generally exercised pretty strict control over its really old IP. And so, I mean, you're right. Like for a very short period of time, the NES Classic and the SNES Classic were like the only ways to play many of the games on these
not
systems.
all, but many.
But many. A decent enough chunk that it was worth it for a lot of people. But now, like, looking at that roster from the Switch Online NES games, I mean, that's like a whole bunch of those are on the NES Classic.
Yep.
And so it's almost looking at that and it's like, well, I already have a Switch. I am glad I didn't spend, $70 or $80 on this plug and play when I can play like the majority of these on here, or Final Fantasy VI, like a shitty port on Steam or whatever.
Yeah.
And then, presumably they're going to add more. I mean, they've already given a lineup of things that they're going to add. So, I mean, they're not doing Virtual Console anymore, but they're still offering multiple ways that are still tightly controlled by Nintendo, but multiple ways to access those old IP. But like you were talking about, like if Einhander's on like the PS1 Classic,
Instant
when
buy.
what other opportunity are you going to have to get that? Probably like what are the odds they're going to port that or put that anywhere else?
None. There is literally like games like Einhander. There is literally no other way to play that, and this is a problem that is endemic for a lot of Square Enix games in particular because there's licensing issues. It's one of the reasons you can't play Valkyrie Profile on PS. It's why you can't download it from PSN onto your Vita because there's licensing issues with the music. It's the same reason that a lot of these Square Enix games aren't available.
But I didn't need some fucking Chrono Cross.
So listen,
stop it.
just a quick thing, Matt. I feel like earlier in the year, maybe now, we were seeing some of Nintendo's mini consoles making it into NPD as like top selling consoles. Is it too early to throw a guess at how this will do in comparison?
Again, it's
too early.
It's all about what they decide to make because they're going to sell through a good chunk, and I don't think we've seen. So sales of these things are up 400% on the year.
Good.
Okay.
So we're seeing massive growth, which means we haven't seen these kind of volumes and these things before. And these plug-and-play systems have been around forever, right? The old 2600 where you could plug into the TV and it had just the joystick. There's been a whole bunch of these over time, but it wasn't until the NES Classic and the SNES Classic that they actually sold. And these two things sold so far above anything else that it's kind of like, okay, which one is this going to be? Is it going to be like everything else, which sells terribly, or the NES Classic, which are phenomenal, somewhere in the middle? I don't know. But I think, like you guys were talking about it, the build quality, the attention to detail, that's why the NES Classic, SNES Classic have done so well, is they paid attention to the details. And if the first people to get their hands on this thing are like, wait a minute, this isn't what it should be, then, it might sell out at first, but then might start collecting dust. I don't know.
Yeah. Sure. Does anybody have any last things before we go to Nintendo Online talk?
I just want to. I don't know, man. Like
You sound so conflicted.
I do, right? Because it's the exact same thing that happened when the SNES Classic released, right? Like I was so disappointed that I didn't get these games on my Switch. I'll take them on my 3DS at this point. I mean, I know some of them are available there, but when you think about companies like Sony and Nintendo, more so than Microsoft, I think, who have some of these timeless classic franchises that are in incredible demand, and I feel like, and it all goes back to the PS1 Classic. I think that's the best possible example that I could. Whoa, what is going on here?
Oof,
getting some feedback from somebody. Finn, is
John
that you?
in stereo.
Yeah. I think it was Finn. But anyway, no, like I said earlier, the PS1 Classics have been available on PSN on everything but one of their fastest selling consoles for years, and it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. Not just from a financial standpoint, it's just also very personally frustrating for me. But why don't we go ahead and move on to the Zach? You want to lead us into our next topic?
Can I just say one thing because I was pretty much in my
please go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. Just like when the move was announced, this is clearly a case of Sony copycatting Nintendo's success at something. But if this is the only way we're going to get it, I do have enough memory of these old games that I'll get it. But like John, I won't be happy about it.
No, it's apropos, man. It's accurate. It's fucking accurate.
One of those things where Microsoft of the three has the best stance on playing old games. It's just Microsoft doesn't have the catalog of games I desperately crave to have access to.
Yeah, they don't have like the anime weeb games that you want. They don't have the.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Damn.
Do they not have your nap naps?
Where's Yamcha is all I'm saying.
All right, we've actually got some questions in chat that we'll address at the end of the podcast. Zach, if you could snag some of those questions for me. Actually, I want you to lead us into our next topic. So, Derek, if you could grab some of those questions I've seen in chat, so we can answer those at the end. Zach, why don't you lead us into our next topic?
Yeah, sure. So after an understandable delay from the Nintendo Direct following an earthquake in Japan, we finally got some concrete details on Nintendo Online. It actually launched 2 days ago with 1 week free trial for everybody, and then it's going to become a paid subscription, $20 a year, which seems pretty reasonable. It is adding cloud saves, but one of the caveats with cloud saves on Nintendo is obviously you have to pay to keep it, and if your subscription lapses, there's potential you might lose some data there. But yeah, I mean, all these games, I mean, my biggest caveat, and I think it's a lot of people's big frustration, is that these games like Splatoon 2 that we've all been playing for a year online, we now have to start paying for that kind of experience. And I think the biggest thing will we see people who have been playing these games for a year and a half start paying just so they can keep playing their games?
So I want to kick this first to Rebecca and then Derek, because they are big Nintendo fans like I am.
Yeah, whoever goes needs to hit on the NES portion as well.
Okay, so Rebecca, why don't we? I don't know. Let's kick this at you. What are your thoughts on Nintendo Online?
Well, I haven't signed up for it yet, and I should. I don't know. It's interesting to exclude Splatoon from the cloud saves, and I think like my overarching thought about it is that I don't think it's a poor choice. And I don't even think it's like necessarily an anti-consumer or rude choice to charge for online. I mean, that's like what everybody's doing now.
Yep.
Like just as a general decision, that's fine. I think it was a poor choice to do it, like a year and a half after the system launch. And I don't think it's a poor choice from a financial standpoint, because people are gonna fucking throw money at Nintendo. Like they do whatever they want. We'll pay for it. I mean, like whatever. I mean, it was really sad. Like I think it was like Dorkly or something that was chronicling all the people who were posting on Splatoon 2's little art things or whatever.
Oh, like goodbye, poor people.
Yeah, like they couldn't afford. Well, no, not that one, but like.
Oh, okay. That's what I saw on Twitter. It was like there was a sign that said goodbye, poor people.
Yeah, I mean, it's really sad that there have been people who bought this game and have been playing for free for a year, and maybe they aren't like super online like the rest of us, so they didn't necessarily know, and then all of a sudden they found out and they're like, oh, well, I can't play this game that I love anymore.
The rug was pulled out.
My parents won't let me pay $20 for an online subscription. I mean, I think generally, I'd be interested to see like what the conversion rate is for people who. I have no idea how you'd get this information. Maybe Matt Piscatelli can pull it out of a hat somewhere in the next few months. But I'd be interested to see like what the conversion rate would be for people who like already own like Splatoon 2 or Mario Kart or a game that has that online, who then go on to continue to play online and pay for it. But yeah, I just think like it just feels bad. I don't think it's going to affect purchasing decisions that much, but I think it just in general feels bad to play something for free for a year and a half and then all of a sudden be like, oh, by the way, $20 to keep going. Like random paywall, whatever.
So I'll chip in real quick and then I'll kick it over to Derek. I think this reeks of the console just being launched too early. I think they had to though. I think they had to. And that's the thing, Rebecca. I think Nintendo was in between a rock and a hard place because the Wii U was a stoner on their fucking neck, right? Yeah. Like that thing was sinking them quickly. They had to get this thing out. And luckily, and they needed it to be accessible. I firmly believe that if the Switch had gone the way of the Wii U, we'd be having a much different conversation about Nintendo right now, and we'd be talking about how awesome it is to have Mario on PS4, or something along those lines. Because Nintendo, they couldn't afford another Wii U. I think we could probably all agree on that. What's that?
They could.
Man, I don't know, man. But
they got those Wii coffers.
They got that war chest.
Money in the bank. They do. They have a war chest. They could have made losses like the Wii U. For now, it would be a terrible business decision, and heads would roll. But they would not be in danger of going under because of another Wii U.
That's a lot of fun.
They would just be in danger of losing some people in the board of directors.
Yeah, I guess there is a
3DS. The 3DS was also so successful. I mean, you look at the sales on that thing. They're still fucking coming out with new 3DSs with like different cosmetic things on them, and every time they do that, I look at that and I'm like, how the fuck is that selling? But they wouldn't keep doing it if it wasn't selling.
3DS is a good system. I still love my 3DS personally, but I signed up for Nintendo Online simply because I feel like this is kind of a gun pointed at my head because I'm so afraid of losing my cloud saves. Like Anthony Agnello, our friend Anthony, it happened to him. He lost all his Zelda data. And my wife is listening to music really loud upstairs. You guys hear that?
Hell yeah.
I kind of can, yeah.
Go for Vicky. Yeah, hell yeah. Thursday night.
She's fucking jamming it. She's listening to Florence and the Machine. She's listening to Stand By Me.
My girl Florence.
That's exactly what I can actually hear what she's listening to. This is actually, we're all standing by each other. Anyway, Derek, please, I want to hear what you think about Nintendo Online.
So here's the deal. I don't really take it's not a great situation. I don't take a lot of issue with them implementing the paid service partway in to the year or into the console's lifespan, even if that does cut some people off. I think that the price is fantastic. I think that on paper, a lot of the basic ideas are great for a different Nintendo Online service than this one, because cloud saves are not universal and disappear. They're saying they can't guarantee that they'll be kept after your subscription doesn't renew. So what that tells me is they're going to be dropped immediately, and they just don't want to say it in those words. That's a big deal. The NES Netflix thing, I know everyone's really excited for, and to me, that's honestly not. That would be more exciting if there were more like virtual console, call it that or not, if there were more of those retro titles available on the Switch's eShop, it would be one thing. But right now what you're telling me is that, okay, well, now you have to get our online service if you want to play anything, and this is all that you're getting.
Right.
It would be very different if more of those NES titles, more and like some Super Nintendo titles and some of those other virtual console games that we saw across the Wii, Wii U, 3DS were available for me to purchase on Switch, and they were saying, hey, here's a bonus to that.
Yeah, like a pay-to-own part of it.
Yeah. But ultimately, like I said, it's a good price for just paying online, but their implementation of cloud saves can't be defended. And it makes me glad that I don't work there anymore and don't have to defend it. So I had to defend some really bad things. I had to defend Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival, all right? and I would not. And I would not. It was the worst. And I would not want to defend this online service because of the cloud saves and because the whole like Netflix subscription for NES titles comes across as kind of like a consolation prize for a virtual console that does not exist.
Right.
I'm so pissed off about it. Like,
and I think so Matt he mentioned it here in our Discord chat, but I'll put it out there because this is from Matt, but he made a good point, which is he made the good point, which is that Fortnite is exempt from the subscription.
So is Warframe, by the way, Zach.
What's that?
So is Warframe.
So and like that isn't necessarily atypical because like remember you need PS Plus for online, but for like basically free to play games on PlayStation, you don't need a subscription for. But it's really weird to see it on a Nintendo's platform, and just kind of building on what Matt's saying and kind of echoing everybody else. What feels frustrating is that games that were previously available, you now have to pay for. I almost wonder if I would feel less sour about it if they were like, yo, every game we release after September is going to have online, you're going to have to pay for it, right? So that would be like your Smash and anything that comes out in post that needs online. And maybe that would like fuck up adoption rates, and that's why they're not going to do it. But it just, the current rollout feels really icky. So, I don't know.
It would make sense in the moment, but like 2 or 3 years down the line, when people have Switches and they weren't there for launch, they're going to be looking at it like, okay, so why can I play online for free in Splatoon 2?
Yeah, you're right. It would probably just exacerbate that. Yeah, you're right.
So
one of the big things we need to see too is this online service, like it's worked fine for like Mario Kart and for Splatoon. But like Smash is going to be a real big test when that rolls around because fighting games online are a real stress test of servers. And I'm going to tell you right now, like if Smash doesn't play better than Smash for Wii U did online, if it is not more consistent, if it does not have like a lower latency, then like you're telling people to pay for a service that does not work for one of their favorite games.
So Finn, real quick, and then I'm going to kick you. I want to point out something that Ian in chat said. He said, to be fair, Nintendo told people about this way before the console released. That is true, but most people that are paying attention to that are watching podcasts like this. They're not Joe Q consumers.
We're better
buying
ones.
a Pokemon. Who's buying
ones, yes.
Yeah,
better ones.
Yeah, exactly right. But no, like mom and dad who are buying a Switch for their 10-year-old, they're not listening to any of this. This is all news to them. And I'm really anyway. Finn, finish your point, and then there's something that I would like us to discuss.
I was just gonna say one good thing Nintendo has going for it, because prior to Smash, it did have a big title fighting game release for it, the Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle, and
that's right.
It's a 2D fighting game that relies very heavily on zero latency, frame perfect setups, and it's been working wonderfully for it.
I'd forgotten about that. So thanks for bringing that up. Actually,
it already has had its debut fighting game, and then it also just had the new King of Fighters, the SNK Heroines game, come out.
I'm not going to use that as an example.
Yeah, no, let's not do that.
Yeah, but Ultimate's
Game's
gonna.
quality doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's online, is functional and working.
Yeah.
And
But you're right.
So I've got a point I want to make, or at least I've got a question that I want to raise to everybody real quick about the potential fallout of Nintendo rolling out their paid online service. I play a lot of Splatoon. I play a lot of Mario Kart, but especially with competitive games, like competitive heavy games like Splatoon 2, I'm interested to see what this is going to do to the player base of games like that. Because as we've all pointed out, until now, for a year and a half, you've been able to play, Splatoon 2 for absolutely nothing. But now, even though it's just $20 a year, those 10, 11, 12-year-olds, they don't have $20 sitting around. It's up to mom and dad to pay that $20.
I mean, the ARMS player base is going to go from 4 to 2, John.
It really is. It's perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
I'll never stop making the joke that, boy, it's a shame that ARMS didn't have legs.
Oh God! Don't ever do that again. But yeah, no, like so I'm interested. So I want to pose this question to Matt. Do you think, Matt, that the rollout of the online service, especially when you start considering people who have been used to paying nothing to play online, all of a sudden they're being asked to fork over money, do you think this will either A, affect sales of online games on Switch going forward, at least in the short term, or B, do you think it will affect sales of the Switch itself?
So will it affect sales of the Switch? No. Will it affect the player bases? Probably. I mean, anytime you set up any kind of barrier between folks and playing something, you're going to lose some people just from either not being interested enough to pay the $20 or just like, it's a hassle, I'm not going to worry about it. Is it a huge deal? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't feel like a huge deal. And like Rebecca pointed out, like if you want to play Tecmo Bowl and you want to play Bo Jackson, you're going to pay the $20. You can have all those NES games on there anyway. I'd expect that future bundles will have a pack-in of online code or something to get more people in the system. But it's really a wait-and-see thing because no one's really launched something like this way before.
Mid-gen.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox Live kind of way back in the day, but that felt different than now.
Well, and also with Xbox Live, it was so new that launching mid-gen was exciting, whereas now it's okay, and it's just adding a paywall late to the game.
Yeah, you're adding a barrier to people that right now you have a core user base on there, a lot of core gamers. If you get into the Pokemon and you get Smash out and you get more mass market folks that don't already own a console, aren't familiar with paid online services, it's going to be tough for those folks to jump on board, but I guess we'll see how it goes.
I really think that especially now that I mean, even if you don't already own an Xbox or a PS4 and have some sort of online service there, I mean, people are familiar enough with Netflix. People are familiar enough with various services, and honestly, $20 a year is
affordable.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not much. I mean, it's not a whole lot at all. And there's a family plan that I signed up for, which is about $35 a year.
Yep.
And what's interesting is that you can share apparently you can share all those games on your family plan, which I think is pretty cool.
I think it does. It's like the game sharing options that you can do on Xbox and I think PlayStation, right? Basically.
Yep. Pretty much. Yeah. It's the exact same thing.
Okay.
And honestly, if that's a feature that hadn't been included, holy shit, you gotta be fucking kidding me, right? We've actually got we've had some questions in chat. I know that Derek had grabbed a few, and I see some others popping up. Derek, what was that first question that you were able to grab?
So the first question that I saw that got asked was, what is our favorite games that we never finished?
This is a
good one.
Zesty question.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead.
It's putting everybody on the spot and making you admit to some things.
I generally try to finish everything that I love. I think right now I would say that the game that I liked the most that I never finished. Jesus Christ, this is fucking harder than it sounds. Probably Super Mario Sunshine. I just
Okay.
Finish that game.
I just
Fucking
couldn't-
monster.
I know. I've never finished. It's the only core Mario game
No.
I've never
Wait, is this a
finished.
bad time to say I don't think it's a good game?
Yes, it's a
Yes,
terrible
really
yes,
time
it
to
is.
say that.
John,
This is-
you need
Zach-
to
Zach
finish
is the
that
new Jay.
game.
Zach is now
John,
the
you
new
need
Jay.
to finish that game so you can finally admit to everyone that it's not a good game.
Wow, there's some zestiness. There's some spicy, some spicy
Look,
shit flying
I'll
around here.
always throw shade on the sunshine, okay?
I mean, it's not as good as Odyssey. Odyssey's the best
The
Mario
light
game
shines
that's ever
through,
been made.
man.
I'm a
Shines
latecomer
through.
to games, and GameCube was my first console that I owned, and I bought it with my own money, and so I have like a really, really special attachment both to Mario Sunshine and Wind Waker against what is apparently popular consensus.
Okay, well, you know what? That's perfect. Rebecca, what is a game that you really enjoyed that you just never finished?
So like I said, like GameCube was the first console that I owned, but when I was growing up, my next door neighbor had a Nintendo 64, and he and I were really good friends, and I would go over there pretty much every day, and we would play Donkey Kong 64, and we would take turns passing the controller back and
I'm
forth.
sorry to hear
and
that.
I like recognize in retrospect that Donkey Kong 64 has some hella problems,
Oh yeah.
but like as a kid, it was so much fun, and we just like we didn't have like internet guides back then, so we're just like trying to figure things out from day to day for like an hour or two, whatever. And we seriously got to K. Rool fight at the end, and we tried it a couple times, and we just could not beat it. We ended up putting it away and playing something else for a while, but we always intended to come back, and then he moved away.
And you never finished it.
No, I never finished it. I own an N64 and I own the game, and there have been a couple times where I tried to go back through it to get to that point because
It's
I
not
just
worth
feel
it.
like I need to finish it. But oh my god, Diddy Kong's jetpack controls! I
It's
can't
not
do
worth it. You're gonna be like,
No,
you're gonna be
I
like,
don't
you're,
wanna
you're, you're gonna be like 90 years old, surrounded by your family. They're gonna say, "Grandma, do you have any regrets?" And you're gonna say,
I never
Donkey.
finished Donkey Kong.
You're just gonna gasp out
64.
Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong. All right. What about Zach? Zach, let's hear a game that you really enjoyed, but you never actually finished it.
A couple. So Watch Dogs 2, really like it, like everything about it. Bounced off of it. I've tried it, I just can't get back into it. Odyssey came out last year. I played it for a little while and I got
God
really deep.
Damn it, Zach.
I know. And then I got really into Wolfenstein, loved Wolfenstein, and then I was like, Odyssey's a good game. I don't need to finish it because I got 4 worlds in and I was like, I've seen everything this game wants to show me.
No.
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 I mean those are the 2 big ones for me. Didn't finish Donkey Kong 64 either. Yeah, no, I pretty much didn't finish anything on the Nintendo 64, honestly.
We've
You're
got
fucking
2 Mario games on this list so far, and
I
we're
know,
only 3
this is-
people in.
This is really,
Yeah.
this is really... Derek, you fucking redeem us. What's a game that you
All
enjoyed
right.
that you never finished?
So, and it's a game that I love, but I did not have the people on hand to finish it. And it's topical. Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. For the GameCube.
You're gonna get your fucking chance here soon.
Yep, I loved Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. I loved everything about it. But there was no way to
No.
play multiplayer without those stupid Game Boy Advance and Link cables.
It was so bad.
And the game is extremely. I remember it being extremely difficult
Yep.
to play solo, especially the further you got in.
You know we're playing that
So-
together when it comes out on Switch, right?
Oh yeah,
That's
no,
gonna
that's
fucking
that's
happen.
gonna happen. Does it have
100%.
online?
Yeah,
It does.
Yeah, it does. You
Then
can-
yeah, we're doing some group Crystal
It's
Chronicles.
fucking, it's fucking
let's
all in like
fucking
Donkey Kong
go.
64.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's all-
redeem myself and I'm gonna beat this game. Let's do it. But that is my favorite game that I was never able to finish.
Brandon, do you have a favorite game, or at least a game that you really like that you never finished?
You don't want to know, John.
No, please tell me. Now I'm dying.
Look, as
now
long
my
as
ears
there's
are
a third
burning.
Mario
I really,
game.
I really don't think you want to know.
No,
I
let's
wanted
hear
it
it.
so bad.
I know. Yeah, Rebecca's drooling. Let's hear it.
It starts with F.
No.
Final
It's
Fantasy.
Final Fantasy VI.
What?
It really
What?
is. It really is.
What?
Let me tell you. Let me
Jesus
tell you
Christ!
how many
I just
times.
beat it like 6 months ago. It's okay.
Let me tell you how many times I've played Final Fantasy VI. The same number of times as there were games in the series when it came out. I've played Final Fantasy VI 6 times, and I stop every single time at the World of Ruin because I just don't enjoy it. So whatever. However, the
How's
World
that
of
your
Balance.
favorite game you haven't finished then?
The World of Balance is easily one of the best RPGs ever made, by far. Like nothing else even comes close.
I think you killed John.
I know.
I
Rip,
would
dude.
rather you.
I'm
have said
pretty
porn
sure
game.
I've mentioned this before because, like,
No,
It's-
this is the first time I've heard this fuck.
I mean, yeah, like it's like one of the weirdest things about my gaming tastes. Like I have like mentioned it on Gaff and Resair and whatever.
Finn.
We have 2 Marios, 2 Final Fantasies, and Donkey Kong out of the
Finn,
And
five.
Final
go,
Fantasy
man,
VI is my
just
second
go.
favorite Final Fantasy.
Can I just add 2 really quick? Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
God
Also.
damn it! Fuck!
I
What the fuck
finished
is this
both of those.
podcast?
Actually, you know what? Wait, hold on.
Just hear it
Technically,
from
I
the
didn't
distance,
finish
like,
Dark Souls either because the game glitched at me on the final boss.
Yeah, but
I
did you
saved
like it?
What
Yeah.
even is this garbage fucking podcast
did.
anymore?
I think you've all successfully convinced John that none of you actually play video games.
Yeah, we actually
Christ
don't. Yeah.
almighty, Finn.
Matt,
Finn.
Matt,
let's- No, I
or
want-
Finn.
No, Finn. We're going to Finn.
Finn.
We're going to Finn.
Finn.
Ooh.
Oh no, he already
Well-
knows he's gonna hit us with some shit. Look at that.
Because unlike you guys, I play good games.
Oh.
So, unfortunately, also to stay topical for another big game coming out, I tried. This game put me to. These 2 games have put me to sleep every time I try and play them. Like I will be playing them,
Please
and then
choose
I'll.
your words carefully at this point. I don't know how to fucking take anymore.
You brought this up, John. You brought this on your
I didn't bring this up. Somebody in chat brought this up.
Elder Scrolls Skyrim
That's
and
Nobody beat
that game's like 100
Yeah,
hours
that's-
long.
Oh,
Okay.
None of us did.
both of those games I cannot push through. They're so boring.
What was the second one?
Red Dead Redemption
Oh, Red Dead Redemption's great.
That game's,
wrong
not,
with you?
that game's not that long.
does
yeah.
nothing for me.
It-
I understand.
Okay.
Well, you know what? You do nothing for None of you do anything for me.
You-
I have a similar
None of
big
you.
open
John
world
is
game
personally
fatigue, so-
offended.
Not a single
Then
one
if
of you.
if you beat the first game, then you can have better enjoyment of the second game, in which there are realistic moving horse testicles.
Or I can play neither.
That's the shit.
How long do you think? My wife is a huge Red Dead Redemption fan, and she was like, maybe if they had focused on the horse testicles, I could have played this 6 months ago. You
But
gotta
the
wonder
great
how much
thing is
time
we can
went
all
into-
look forward to people like me who don't buy the game will still be able to watch the 10-hour-long video that somebody recorded of the horse testicles.
That is going to be me. I am going to record that because you know I'm going to check that. You know I'm going to fact check that.
Put that on YouTube. We're gonna need it. The world
right.
needs.
I'm
It's 10-hour horseball movie.
I'm going to kick this over to
Gross.
Matt. And just
Set to ASMR horseball sounds.
Oh,
Right.
no.
Matt,
Bad.
You're welcome.
First and last time on the show.
Matt,
No.
what's a game you like that you haven't finished? And please, for the love of shit, don't let it be anything Final Fantasy or
Well,
Mario. Or I can't do this anymore.
Just be
it
honest.
has to be games that you like, right? Which automatically excludes anything Final Fantasy for me.
Oh,
So,
Lord.
Oof.
Okay. No,
Yeah,
that's
anyways,
acceptable. That's acceptable.
Scorpion pepper spicy.
first point, there's been far too much video game genitalia in the news this week. We need to stop. It's just too
Or
much.
superhero genitalia for that matter.
Toy
I
Treasure
can't.
Tracker?
I
Too
can't ever
much.
play. I can't ever play Treasure Tracker ever again. I'm sorry. I can't. Like I can't. I can't do it.
Well, so a game I really liked. I've bought it. I've easily 10 times. An old game by Black Isle Studios back on the what was the engine, the Infinity engine. Planescape Torment is a game that
Really?
Played that.
I love
Interesting.
That's a
everything
hard one to
about.
finish.
I love everything about the game, but I can't get through it. I wish I could. Maybe I will someday.
I just who was that? Sam in chat says John must feel like Julius Caesar with all these brutal stabbings. I do kind of actually. I feel like I've been stabbed in the back multiple times. We actually had another question. Yep, Derek's got it.
I've got it for you if you're ready. All right.
Please
So
let it be-
Direwolf 484 asks, John, why should we trust your opinion on pizza if you can't even fucking make it?
This is
Next question. Next.
Something-
next-
Fair question.
yeah. Something about the read from Derek was just
We had to
devastating.
get awful dramatic there.
Yeah.
Answer the
Oh,
fucking
Jesus.
question, John.
That's-
I'm not letting you off the hook here, John.
Wait,
Okay,
wait.
look,
Can
look.
we pause for
No,
1
no.
second? Just we need to ask Rebecca and Matt something. Feta and onion on pizza.
Oh,
Thoughts?
Christ
No,
almighty.
nobody weigh in with them. I just want to hear it.
Wait, like feta cheese?
Yeah.
Yes, feta cheese and onion on a pizza. Thoughts?
Only those two things and nothing else?
Yes, just those two things.
I would try it.
You're a fucking monster.
Fuck
I'll
yeah.
allow
I would
it.
try it.
No.
Fuck. Yeah,
I would-
redemption. Okay.
I would try it with skepticism, and I would
Okay.
make sure there was someone else in the room who already liked it to eat it if I didn't like it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Now, I'm down as so long as you get rid of the mozzarella and it's just feta, onion.
It is. Yeah, it's just feta and onion.
Yeah, because then the garlic and the oregano and the sauce will really come forward and really help with that feta, like to cool it down. Like I'm into this idea.
I hate
No,
I'm into this idea a lot.
Yeah, it's really strong. I tried to bring it up a couple of episodes ago, obviously, company, and it was rejected. But no, it's one of my favorite pizza
I
combinations.
hate this fucking podcast. I hate
They're
every
all
fucking
wrong.
podcast.
They're wrong. And that's
They're
fine.
wrong. No, great. I feel good. I'm in good company now. Thank you.
No,
That's all.
Is there sauce on the pizza?
There is. There is.
Yeah,
sauce.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but what he's not telling you is it's fucking Alfredo sauce.
Yeah, it's, yeah.
No.
Wait.
Is it Alfredo?
Oh no!
Time out. Hold on.
So, okay.
My interest went up with the Alfredo.
I don't do white pizza, man. I don't
Jesus
do white
Christ,
pizza.
No. Okay, look.
What a shit show.
I eat weird shit, okay?
Look.
I'm a foodie. I eat weird shit.
Let us. I'm going to address the original question. Okay.
All
The
right.
original question from Sam was
Can't even make a pizza.
why should you trust my opinion on pizza when I can't even
If you
make
can't
one?
even fucking make
I
it,
can't even fucking Derek, that's enough out of you. You've read the question. You've read the question. My answer to Sam is fuck you. That's my answer to Sam. That's my answer to Sam is take that question and shove it up your ass. That's my answer to that question. Because everybody knows that you cannot tell the difference between cheese and dough in Overcooked 2. All right,
Listen.
that's it. That's the bottom line. That's it. It's and it ruins the game. It ruins the whole game. It's not a pizza problem. It's not a John problem. It's an Overcooked 2 problem.
John,
That's what it
listen,
is.
John can't even make hair on his head. He can't make pizza either.
Jesus fucking Christ, Zach. Holy
My
shit.
understanding is that Jesus Christ was a very hairy man.
yeah.
This
He
podcast
was-
is fucking going places. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
We need another question.
Zach,
We need
you just got tagged
another
in
question.
something.
We need another question. I know.
Okay.
Going.
Big Weeks gave another question, which is
Okay.
what is your favorite game that you are currently playing?
Oh, finally, fucking something.
Let's
So I have to be like actively playing it like in the last couple.
let's say recently, and maybe for the sake of interest, like let's try to avoid like something like Spider-Man that we're obviously almost all playing right now.
Shadow of the Tomb Raider is better than Spider-Man.
Oh my
you're
lord.
wrong. It's okay to be wrong, Zach. It's
I just
okay.
wanted to throw some sizzle. onto that frying pan.
definitely
That's
threw
good.
some fucking red pepper flakes on there, like on this. Disgusting...
Listen. If I wanted to play an Activision era Spider-Man game, I go hook up my GameCube.
On the
spice.
disgusting feta and onion pizza that is SDGC, you just poured a shitload of red pepper flakes. All
Good.
over that shit. All over that shit.
Somebody else take over. I've
No,
fucking laid
Zach,
it out
it's
there.
Cool. I also enjoy playing the third version of a terrible franchise.
Oh
Wow.
Ooh, I don't know if I'd call it terrible.
No,
Wow.
That's strong
I
language.
just literally, I wanted for emphasis because
Okay, you know what? Hold on. We're gonna bring some class back to this podcast. I want Rebecca to answer. Rebecca, what is a game that you're playing right now that you're really enjoying?
I'm playing 2 really good games. I can't pick between them. Actually, no, I know the answer. I'm playing Hollow Knight.
That is a
fuck
great
yeah.
game. That is a great
I
fucking
am
game.
bringing class to this podcast. So I picked it up on the Switch and I played the majority of it right before World of Warcraft Battle for Azeroth came out. And then I stepped away and played a shit ton of WoW because I can't stop myself. And along with Nintendo, Blizzard can have all my money. But then I picked up Hollow Knight again when Godmaster came out. And I was like debating if I wanted to do Godmaster because I like the exploration elements of Hollow Knight, but I don't know if I like the boss rush as much. Like, it's well done, but I'm just
That
not
kind
quite
of
into
dampened my enthusiasm for the because I'm right at the end. I'm about to fight the Hollow Knight, and like
Yeah.
hearing that the DLC is pretty much just all boss rush, I'm like,
But there's apparently other endings to the game if you do the
Yes.
boss rush, and so now I'm like, do I want those endings? I don't know.
I just don't want to watch.
Rebecca, if I may, because I 100% Hollow Knight, the DLC does not change. The boss rush stuff does not change the
the core ending of the game.
The only thing that changes the ending is
It's the White Palace, right?
and they're the doing some of the side stuff.
Yeah, I did that. I think I'm like I went to the Hollow Knight fight 2 days ago, and I started it. Like I got through the first phase and I did the thing where you go to fight the Radiants or whatever, and that's
then
what, that's
do
where I
that.
got stuck and I left it. But I am gonna finish that.
Then you're good.
Yeah, I'm like basking in the satisfaction because I've put like 45, 50 hours into this game
That's a lot
right
of
now.
content
Like
in that game.
I'm basking in the satisfaction of being about ready to finish a game that I've played for a long time and loved almost the entirety of that time.
Great answer. And Hollow Knight is a really satisfying.
And I personally, I am vindicated because hearing John say how much he loves it, because a mere like 3 weeks ago,
I started off not liking it. Like I like the art style. The art
and
style.
saying that it looked no better than a Flash game.
The art style was just not clicking with me. Like it just, but now I
It's
love
so
it.
cute,
It really grew on me. I love it now. It
It's
really
so
grew on me.
cute.
I love Metroidvania.
No, hold on, I got this.
Wait, what's going on?
Stall.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
All
really
right, we're
quickly.
stalling. Matt, what about you? Matt, what's a game you're playing right now that you're really enjoying?
So I went back to Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle,
Excellent.
and
game.
I bounced off that pretty hard at launch. But since then they've added a lot. They've patched it a bunch, and wow, it's a heck of a lot smoother. It's just it scratches that XCOM itch, and I'm between big open world games. Like I just finished Spider-Man, gonna go to Red Dead. I'm like, I need some nice, like some good, just tactical strategy and some goofiness, and just have a good time. And it's hitting all those buttons.
That's awesome. I just want to point out. Apparently, Rebecca is a fan of Fangamer. I know I saw that at the Fangamer booth. A little
I
Hollow
just
Knight
saw that.
plushie up there.
Nice. I'm so
Nice.
proud of you, Rebecca.
That's good shit right there. That's good shit. I should pull out. I got a bunch of plushies laying around here.
Oh my god, and it has the nail.
Brandon,
Make
talk
sure-
to me about what you've been playing.
Yeah.
Fortnite of
Brand-
all games.
Brandon's been
other than
he's
Overwatch?
bounced off.
Talk to me-
Overwatch a little bit.
I got sick of Overwatch big time.
Do you have the battle pass?
I do. I'm level 63 on my battle pass, I think, something like that.
Wow, good for you.
Awesome.
I'm.
No,
It's
I'm
a
sorry,
good
Zach,
game.
Please.
No, I was just gonna say, Fortnite. It's a good game.
It is
It's-
good.
Yeah, I know you're frustrated that the battle pass in PUBG isn't anywhere near as good as the one in Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, but
yeah.
you know, I PUBG is my true love, but Fortnite is a sweet companion,
It really is.
and
Yeah.
right now I'm enjoying it.
What I've been playing a lot of is the 50v50, soaring 50v50.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
It's super casual because like so it splits the map in half and puts 50 on one side, 50 on the other. So the looting phase is like no stress because you're landing with
Right.
your own teammates, so you can just get all the gear you want, and then you run into like a big clusterfuck of a battle, and it's fun because I mean there's no pressure, right? It's like 50v50. So.
All right. Well, what about we'll move right along. Finn, what about you? What's a game you're playing right now? Let's make the answers kind of brief because we're running short on time here. Finn, why don't you tell us about a game you're playing and enjoying right now? Finn's gone.
Life.
Derek.
So Risk of Rain stealth dropped on Switch.
Ooh,
So
nice.
I
didn't know that.
reinstalled Risk of Rain on my PC, and I've been replaying that. And every time I go back to it, man, I fall deeply in love with it, with the aesthetic, with the difficulty, with just the general gameplay, with the variety in it. I am. Okay. Am I back?
I'm here. Nope, I'm here.
John,
John.
I'm here. I'm here.
All right.
Okay.
Cool.
stream's
I was
good.
gonna say,
Yeah, no,
That,
yeah.
you know, it-
just
it's-
when that happens,
I'm
the stream
deeply
does
in
not
love
go
with it.
off.
and it's reminding me how excited I am for Risk of Rain 2 being such a different game, because I don't know how they could just make Risk of Rain again, but with more stuff and really make it that much better. So,
All right, and
Yeah, that's
Zach, what about you? Zach, you already went.
I did. Who has not gone yet?
Finn is not
Finn.
gone. Finn is the last
And Matt.
one. Finn is it. No,
Me.
Matt's already went.
did he?
Matt, did you go?
No, I haven't.
No, not you,
No, 'cause
Finn.
you
I'm
guys
talking
told me
about.
Spider-
I'm talking
Different
about
Matt.
different Matt. Matt, did you already? Jesus fucking Christ!
OBS off of a potato. So,
All right,
I,
let's
I think
fucking-
there's something about Finn and John's connection is not good.
Yeah, no, there's no. It's not my internet connection. It's Discord. Discord is
No.
nothing.
But-
There's my
We need
internet.
a different app.
No, my internet is fine. Discord is having problems.
Well, I was noticing when you and Finn would try to jump back in. I'm glad Finn's trying to get back in, but I noticed that's when we're having these.
Yeah,
bumps.
no, there's
You guys can hear me, right?
we
can hear you, buddy.
we can, but Discord is
just
having
not gonna
issues.
worry about
Let's get this wrapped up.
Okay.
I'm not going to worry about the camera. Let's just move on.
Okay. All right,
Go
Finn.
ahead.
Finn, you got anything, buddy?
So we're talking about our favorite games that we're
Currently playing.
Yeah, just one.
Nope.
Finn,
The Messenger.
the Messenger's
okay.
a fucking
There we
excellent
go.
choice. Hey, Finn, check it out. You see that? Look at that.
No, I can't see your camera, but
Oh, you
I
can't
just
see my. I'm
assumed
wearing a
that you're
Messenger
playing.
shirt, so it's. I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay. Look, the Messenger is right up there with Celeste as the best indie game on Switch this year.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Celeste is overrated.
I expected it to play really well. I did not expect the level of humor
John.
and joy that the game brings. It's very sharply written, very funny, and nothing about the game leading up to launch made me think it would be that way. And it was a delight. Hollow Knight is right up there too, because that is one of my favorite games this year. But I find that weird because I don't know if I count that a teen game because it came out last year.
You were
So-
referring to the Switch specifically, though.
Finn.
No response.
Finn,
Okay,
You've
you
left
got
me
whatever.
speechless.
Finn,
You've
Finn,
won.
Yeah,
Blame the
yeah, that's
technical
it.
issue.
Yeah, you got it.
We have spiraled.
I'm telling-
There
I'm
is
telling you right-
Celeste under his breath.
Yeah.
Celeste
John
is-
just casually like, hey, fuck what you guys like.
Celeste is overrated.
Yikes. Okay.
Super Meat Boy is better platforming. I don't know. Matt.
John-
It's weird.
Matt, what about you?
And everybody?
Matt Piscatella.
Me?
Yes.
Oh
you.
man, dude, I'm Mario Rabbids, dude. I already been
Oh, you
through
already
this
went.
train.
You already went. Sorry,
Oh, yeah.
we're having so many fucking technical issues that it's hard to keep up with
Choo
what's going on.
choo.
So I'll just point out it is not an issue with my internet. It's actually there's Discord problems. I just saw on Twitter Discord is having some issues. So we will go ahead and we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. I want to thank Matt as always for coming on and talking that good MPD talk with us. And of course, you can find him at Matt Piscatella on Twitter, and you can find him here every month. And Matt, you've also got your own YouTube channel where you talk about this.
Oh yeah, I do like a 5-minute, 10-minute recap of everything you need to know coming out of the NPDs. It's a good time, so come hang out.
And Rebecca, where can people find you?
You can find my work at gamesindustry.biz, and you can find me on Twitter at Duck Valentine.
Awesome, and you have been an outstanding guest, Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I'm
We
so
appreciate
happy
that.
to be here. You're so cool.
We are so cool. Get to know us a little more, and you will change that opinion.
That's the
real
back of our
quick.
box
Greatest-
art.
Yeah.
Greatest
So
trash
cool.
So-
fire on the internet.
There we go.
That's actually Zach. Zach makes it. Oh, I'm sorry. What did Rebecca say? What was that?
The greatest trash fire on the internet.
It's the fucking best. Yeah, it's really good. Like that.
It's
that right
trash, but it's great.
That's
trash.
that and so cool. Zach hit the nail on the head. That's on the back of our box art right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rebecca, we got to do some streaming collaboration here at some point. But maybe try to redeem ourselves on Overcooked or something like
Oh,
that.
I'm so down. I'm so down.
So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. Just a few quick notes. I think we're going to try to do a Spider-Man spoiler cast this week, pre-recorded. So if we can make that happen, we'll have it out for you guys next week. We will be back next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as always. Justin at RoboPlato wrote a really good article about the Feast Center in Spider-Man. From Spider-Man. You can find that on our Medium page, and I'll show myself again. I'm going to show myself again every week till it happens. Of course, if for those people who are new to us, on November 15th, I will be in San Francisco hosting Kind of Funny Games Daily with Greg Miller. So please look forward to that. And if nobody else has anything to add, it's not always poetry, and we don't always agree, but we always keep it real. So until next time, take care of each other, and just go on living, enjoy life. See you guys next week.
Oh, we have something from Finn.
John?
Whoa, we got something from Finn.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, as someone that hasn't been able to be on the show for a bit because of real life obligations, and this might be the last time for a bit until December, it's a delight to see you all again, especially Piscatella. Rebecca, I'm glad I was able to come back on the episode you were on. Wonderful to meet you. And yeah, I love you guys.
We
Love you
too,
too.
Finn.
Yeah, we're happy to have you back, Finn.
We love you too, Finn.
And your great shirt.
You have
And
Finn,
your great shirt.
And Finn, there is no reason you cannot join us on our pre-recorded content on the weekends. By the way,
Absolutely.
Oh no,
Keep
of
in
course.
mind.
Those I'm very happy to be on.
so you will still get plenty of Finn's opinions in your
Turns out
ear
weddings
holes.
are not cheap. And yeah.
All
Okay.
right, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We will see everybody next week, as always. Peace.
See ya.